Welcome to Witchy Business, hosted by me, Emily.
And me, Anna. This is your weekly dose of friendly business chat with a witchy flair.
Through these personal and vulnerable conversations, we share our business journey with you,
highlighting the links to our overall growth journey in the hopes to make you feel more supported as you share your magic.
This episode is sponsored by Plan Her, a timeless and undated planner and journal created to help witches stay organised while in flow.
We especially love the pages for new moon manifestations and full moon reflections.
For additional support on how to harness the energy of the moon while working on your business,
subscribe to our Substack, your link in our show notes.
Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Witchy Business, the podcast. In this episode today, we are going to be doing an intro to us, Emily and Anna, and how we met and our intentions for this podcast. So yeah, Anna, do you want to go first and introduce yourself?
Sure. So a little bit about me. I currently live in France, in Nice, and I actually grew up in the Pacific on a small little island called New Caledonia, and I grew up half there and half in Australia, which you can probably hear. And yeah, then went and lived in London for a while, and now France, and yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I love that you tell the whole story as well, like of what countries you've lived in. And because when I first met you, I was like, are you Australian? But when we met, you were living in London, and then you could speak French, and I was like, wow. So
it's always like almost like a disclaimer at the start of like, this is why I speak French, this is why I sound semi-Australian, and yeah, it's just a quick little intro.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I am Emily, and I'm from the UK. I don't unfortunately speak any other languages. I have lived in London for probably about 10 years, and I took a break in that to live in Australia. So, and when we first met, we bonded over that as well, and talking all about Australia and Sydney. I miss it. But yeah, that's me.
You don't live in London anymore?
Well, I don't. Oh yeah, good point. I don't. I recently moved out. And now I live in Nottingham. So yeah, up north, or the Midlands, shall we say. Yeah.
I'm laughing about this because Em didn't actually tell me she was moving, and she was telling me like she was, I'm not going to be home for that day, and I'm not going to be home that weekend. And I just thought she was like moving around a lot. But no, she was actually moving.
I thought I told you. And I remember it was like the day we were moving or something.
Yeah.
And you were like, what? And I felt so bad. I thought, I honestly couldn't believe that I told you, because we talk all the time, and I just assumed that you knew.
And I thought it was just completely normal. You were like spending time with your family, with Matt's family, like didn't even question it. Oh, that was so funny.
So good. Well, we met like 2-3 years ago now.
Yeah, it was almost 3 years ago. That's wild.
Yeah, it is, on our coaching training. And yeah, we were just saying, weren't we, that we've only met in person 3 or 4 times?
3 times?
3 times.
3 times. Yeah, twice in London, 1 in Nice. And we only met in person. Was it like a year after we started? Yeah, it was a year.
I think it was, because it was during COVID. So yeah, although we were both in London, but you were moving.
I was in France, like yeah. So, but it was like, so we met because we were each other's like practice clients for our first business, our first coaching course. And yeah, it was like instantly we became friends, because we have such a similar background as well with work. So I used to work in PR and marketing, especially for hotels. And so did you.
Yeah, for the same company as well. Yeah. So my background, well, when we first met, I was working in luxury hotels as well. And before that, I worked in agencies, marketing and advertising agencies.
Yeah, which I've worked in when I was in Australia. So it was just like we have so much in common, like between the countries we've lived in and the jobs that we've done and like where we were going. So yeah, I think it was just obvious that we were going to become friends. And I mean, we've called the podcast Witchy Business. So we both obviously have a thing and a big interest for anything linked to spirituality and the witchy side of things. So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, we've been on like a real journey together, just through from our coaching training and then our own personal development journeys. And yeah, like you said, we have similar visions for ourselves and our businesses. And yeah, I love that this friendship has been born online. And it's really cool when you think about it.
Yeah, it really is. I love it. And we speak like really often as well. Like long voice notes, proper. We have like, just so everyone knows, every week we catch up and it's meant to be for an hour. We catch up for like a solid 2 hours every week. Just to debrief about like what we're doing with our businesses and life, and just, yeah, it's the best. I love them.
It's so funny because it used to be in for an hour in our diaries, and then we had to actually block it out for 2 because otherwise, then if you book calls after that. But we've always said right from the beginning, we always knew we wanted to create something together, create something in terms of business together. And we sort of just let it happen naturally, didn't we?
Yeah, it was just like, oh, we'll have to do something like that one day, and one day we'll have to do this. And I love that we gave each other time just to let it come through. And then it came through, and it was Witchy Business. We used to do circles that were free around the new moon and full moon, really to work with like that energy of the moon, but bringing it to your business. And it was really well received. Like people loved the idea, but it was never at the right time. It just didn't work for people. And so I remember we had this chat where we're like, this is not working, but I don't want to fully drop it. So yeah, we just kept doing them, but just for us for a little bit. I think it was like maybe a month or so.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, we both love podcasts. We send each other podcasts all the time. And then we're like, let's just do our own. And that way everyone can tune in at a time that suits them. So yeah.
And our chats as well, like our 2-hour chats, we always, I mean, the things that we talk about are so obviously very personal, very vulnerable, very raw, and often they do reflect what other people are going through, particularly our clients. Often we are a mirror, our clients are a mirror for us, and vice versa. And we've always said, haven't we, that we should just record all of our chats, because we definitely find so much benefit in listening to other podcasts where they are really real and really vulnerable. And like you always say, like going through stuff and sharing it as you're going through it. And there's a time and a place to do that. And we also want to respect our boundaries, and we're not going to be sharing anything that we're not ready to share. But also there is a lot of power in sharing if we feel called to do so at that time.
Yeah, sharing like when we're in the mess. And just, I find I get so much from our conversations when we're just like breaking things down, and when we call each other up on our limiting beliefs and like, no, but okay, or how could you do this, reframe this. And I mean, we both have the same background in like marketing and PR, so then we always have that business side of, okay, how are you going to market it, what value can you add, like how are you going to promote it, and all of that stuff. And I get so much value out of that sometimes I just wish we could share it with people. And yeah, I think it's more, we were talking about this, of how like in the coaching world, I feel like everybody always talks about like, this is how I went through this 6 months later. But there's just something missing in that where it feels like all neat and all, you know, packaged up and clean. Whereas when you're going through stuff, it feels messy, confusing, and that's, yeah, kind of what we want to share. Like you said, in a way that's respectful for our boundaries. But I feel like what's really cool about us doing this together is that I feel safe talking to you. I don't feel like I'm just talking alone, and I hope, yeah, I know you feel the same. So yeah, just basically inviting people along to our messy, crazy chats.
Because sometimes, like you said, there's like a disconnect, but it's also not always that relatable, is it? It's like, you know, great, I see that there's an end to this, and I see that, you know, and I know, I trust and I know that there's this will pass, but it's like how and when, and like, you know, so yeah.
And I feel like in that, even if it's not what is said, the way it's often shared makes you feel, as like a consumer of that information, it makes you feel like there's a destination to get to and a place where things are better. And well, life's not like that. And I think it's all about, to me, and really what, you know, how I work a lot of the time is just, yeah, how can you be okay in the mess? How do you navigate that, and working out that muscle of being able to navigate it when it's messy, confusing, uncomfortable, painful, and all of that. So yeah.
And really, I guess we've built up so many tools for ourselves in just that, being able to navigate that. And this space is a place for us to share how we do that, in the hopes that we can hold others in the same way. Or at least inspire.
And just see that it's messy for everyone, and that no one has reached like the other side of the river where the grass is perfectly green and everything's perfect. So and one thing we will do in this podcast still, that goes back to the circles that we used to hold, is talk to you about harnessing the energy of the moon in your business, which I absolutely love to do. I think it's so cool.
So every new moon and full moon, we will add a little bit to each episode with a little bit of info on that, and then some journal prompts for you to reflect on and spend some time working through.
Actually, this episode comes out just before a full moon. So normally we said we'd do the moon reflections at the start of the episode. You can just like listen to that bit, and if that's all that you want, then you can just do that. But for this one, we'll pop it in at the end, so we'll record that bit closer to the time so we can actually feel the energy and not be just talking about it. Because one of our big things is business. It's like a reframing of how we are in business. Talk about.
That's a good point. We should mention that the whole ever since we first met, one of the things that both of us are so passionate about, and one of the things that we really bonded over, is the balance of the masculine and feminine. So both of us coming from that whole marketing world that is very masculine, it's very structured, it's, you know, masculine energy being that kind of action taking, but toxic masculinity, like everything needs to happen now, hustle, running from one thing to the next. And we both knew that we didn't want to carry that over into our business, but we had a long journey of deconditioning and leaning into our feminine and then balancing
the two.
Yeah. So, and we'll talk more about that as we go. But that is a big thing for us. It's really about balancing that energy and finding ease with everything we do, right?
We love it. We love making things easy. Actually, like, for a little insight, every time we work on this podcast and all the work we did on it beforehand, it was just like, okay, how do we make this easier? How do we make this easier? And it literally, like, every step of the way, we just broke it down of like, how can we make this simpler, more enjoyable? And we actually did pretty much everything together. We'd like log on to a call and type, like, we didn't do things separately. There was just a couple of bits that we did, but it was like we were in flow and we did them. But we've just done everything together and just in a way that makes it as simple as possible, because, well, really, so there's less resistance to doing it. And I think people who listen feel that. So
yeah. And I'm really proud of us, because we just on that, we had planned a few weeks ago just the kind of structure of what we envision for this podcast and how we wanted to have an intro and an outro, and we sort of planned what we wanted to say a little bit. And we blocked out like how many hours today to record this, and we did it, like, considering that our weekly chats take 2 hours, we just recorded all of that in less than an hour.
We were very productive on that one. Very proud of us. So we can talk. The girls can talk. But we can also be like super productive and just, I keep fogging up with my glasses, so I can't like see properly. But then when I want to get foggy.
I think that's all we wanted to say in this first episode, right?
Yeah, I think this is a good place to start. So we'll just pop in a little bit about the full moon. It's the first one of 2023, so we'll pop that in afterwards, and we will see you next week. Oh yeah, we should share that. We plan having an episode every week with you. So there'll be episodes where it's just the two of us having a good chat. Episodes that come out close to a full moon or a new moon, we will talk about that. We'll also have guests. We have the longest list of super exciting guests that we want to bring to you. That's it. That covers it.
So as this episode is coming out on the 6th of Jan, it's the full moon in Cancer. So here are our thoughts on that.
So we start this fresh new year with a full moon in Cancer. It's also known as a wolf moon. And as we've just learned, it's sometimes also referred to as the stay-at-home moon or the quiet moon. Now, I don't know about you, but that definitely resonates with us. The wolf moon can often be an emotional one where we find it difficult to communicate our feelings and express our thoughts clearly, which is a lot counterintuitive to the general January vibe of setting new goals and new intentions.
This full moon is the sign of Cancer. It's inviting you to tune in to your deepest, most secret dreams and desires. Before you listen to what we or anyone else is saying about the energies, listen to what you're feeling, to what you're being called to, and bring your awareness to what's moving through you.
As this is the first full moon of the year, it's the perfect time to reflect on your business and what it was like over the past moon cycle and also the past year.
Reflect not only on what you have achieved, but how you felt when working on and in your business. Month by month, what were the biggest takeaways, the biggest lessons, the highs and lows?
What would you need to implement to best nurture and nourish yourself to be able to create more of what you wish in the coming year in your business?
Over the next 2 weeks, as the moon keeps reflecting light back to us, take the time to reflect and process your relationship to work. This will then allow you to be able to set goals and manifestations from a grounded, solid place during the next new moon.
Also, take note that with Mars and Mercury in retrograde, things might be feeling a little difficult and a little unclear. There's this pressing desire to move forward, but it comes with frustration because there's a lack of clarity. And it will shift, clarity will come back when both station direct. And that happens between the 12th and the 18th of this month.
And we're going to put all of that in our Substack. So if you want to refer back to this at any point and spend some time with these questions and thoughts, then make sure you're subscribed to our Substack.
So to bring this to life a little bit more, Em, how are you feeling during this upcoming full moon? Because we're recording 2 days before it.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling this energy, and it feels like a bit of a contrast between coming into January and that energy that some people have, and it feels a little bit like I'm pushing against that in order to move slower. I'm feeling, just that energy that January has. It's like dark in the mornings, it's dark in the evenings, and all I want to do is just hibernate and sit on the sofa. But also at the same time, I'm like, oh, but I want to create all of these things. And it's been a little bit of a battle. Like, for example, yesterday I could feel lots of anxiety present in my body, and I was sat reflecting on that and asking where this is coming from and what's coming up for me right now. And I was able to pinpoint that it was related to my background in the kind of fast-paced world where January, everyone's back and everyone's like, we need to get all of these things done. And so I just allowed myself to sit with that, and I've just been upping my morning routines and morning mindset work, and just really sitting with that, practicing breath work so that I can create from a grounded space without all of the noise and the voices in my head telling me that I must create. What about you?
I completely agree. It's like, I feel like where the fight is in that dissonance between what we're being fed of, like, this is the time, where we should be creating and putting things out. And even before that, like setting goals and all of that, and what we're actually feeling. And the fight is in that dissonance, that difference between the two, because just like you, like what I'm really feeling is this call to be inward. It's winter here, and to just reflect on what's been going. It's been a really big year last year, really big 3 years collectively. And I'm not feeling like I want to be pushing, but at the same time I'm creating. So it's like wanting to create just from this soft, grounded space, exactly like you said, because we're obviously creating. We're even like launching a brand new project, and I've got another project that starts next week, and so but it's just like, what's the energy that I want to put behind them? Do I want to make it like really pushy and full on, or just really soft? Because even like thinking about it, the 1st of January is so arbitrary. And even when I lived in the Southern Hemisphere, like, it's the middle of summer. You want to be playing and having fun. It's not the time when you want to start any new resolutions or new ways of doing things. So so it's just, I think it's about like allowing ourselves to actually work with what we're feeling rather than what we're being fed.
Yeah, totally. I feel like we're really practicing what we preach, which is slowing down and and feeling into what we want to create and our energy and, the place we create from, whilst not stopping. Slowing down is not stopping, it's slowing down.
Slowing down. Yeah, there's still forward movement in that. Yeah, that's really true. I know you pulled a card for us. Do you want to share, please?
Yeah, I did. So I pulled the 8 of Wands, and it is in reverse. And Wands are all about inspiration, strength, creativity, intuition. And the 8 of Wands is all about upright, is all about movement, fast-paced, change, action, alignment. And when that's in reverse, what that means is it's inwards. So it's what's going on inside. So to me, that's really all about everything that we've just discussed. It's moving forwards with your project, your idea, your business, whatever that is, but also considering that it's okay to slow down, and you might need to slow down in order to allow things to flow and allow them to have more ease into what you're creating, because that's the invitation for you right now. And it's also a sign that now is a good time to move forwards. So everything that you've been thinking about, everything that you've been trying to manifest, now's the time, but also to just consider your energy and at what pace you're moving forwards.
Thank you for tuning in to your weekly dose of Witchy Business.
If you love us as much as we love us, please leave a 5-star review to help us spread the magic.
Thank you again to our sponsor, Plan Her. Please support them the way they support us.
And don't forget to follow the link in the show notes to sign up to our Substack. You can also watch us on YouTube. It's at Witchy Business.
And you can also follow us on Instagram at We Are Witchy Business. Emily is at _Emily Tyson, and I am at Anna.Jordan with an E.